Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to second PUC accountancy online classes. Students, in the previous class we have solved problem number 3. Am I correct? Today I will start problem number 4. I will solve the problem of page number 127 of your question bank. 127 page number, problem number 4. Let me read out the problem. In the meantime we will analyze and then we will solve the problem. Okay? Yes. From the following information, calculate gross profit ratio, inventory turnover ratio, trade receivable turnover ratio, return on shareholders funds, return on investment, book value per share. These are the 6 ratios we are going to calculate now. Details are given: revenue from operations, cost of revenue from operations, inventory at the end, gross profit, inventory at the beginning. What do you mean by why it is given inventory at the beginning and at the end? Inventory in the beginning and inventory at the end. Because we have to take the average inventory. Average inventory is the total of opening and closing inventory divided by 2. When we add opening inventory and closing inventory together and when we divide it by 2, that is average inventory. Okay, so that is the reason both are given here. Then if that is not given, then inventory whatever is given itself is the average inventory. Remember this. Clear? Trade receivables, net profit after tax, that is PAT, profit after tax. Share capital of 10 each, that is the face value is 10, isn't it? Then profit and loss account, profit and loss account, then 10% debentures, isn't it? The net profit before tax, that's PBT, net profit before tax, PBT, isn't it? Yes. Now let us start gross profit ratio. Gross profit ratio, that is the ratio that we are supposed to calculate by dividing gross profit divided by net revenue from operations into 100. That is the formula, correct? So follow the formula. Let us solve it. Problem number 4. After that I will take it as A. It is given as 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So better we'll take A, isn't it? Gross profit ratio. Calculation of gross profit ratio. Right there. Calculation of gross profit ratio. Under that, write the formula first. Gross profit is equal to that is gross profit ratio is equal to, gross profit ratio is equal to gross profit divided by net revenue from operations. Gross profit divided by net revenue from operations into 100, right? Yes, into 100. So this is how you have to apply the formula. Now substitute the figures. Gross profit is given in the problem 60,000. Straight away we will write the amount 60,000, right? Therefore GPR is equal to gross profit ratio. Net revenue from operations means sales, isn't it? Revenue from operations, net revenue from operations means minus sales returns. There are no returns, so this itself is the net revenue from operations, right? Yes. How much it is? 3 lakh. 3 lakh divided by 3 lakh into 100 is equal to, simplify it, I think it is 20%, right? 20%. Right here, therefore GPR is equal to 20%. Your problem is solved. First problem, that is first part is solved, isn't it? Now let us move on to the second part, point B. Gross profit is over, gross profit ratio is over. Now inventory turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio. That is ITR, right? Inventory turnover ratio. Write the formula. ITR is equal to, you have already solved problem on this. Write the formula. Cost of revenue from operations divided by average inventory, right? Cost of revenue from operations divided by average inventory. Average inventory. Therefore ITR is equal to how much? That is the cost of revenue from operations. How much it is? Is it given in the problem? 2,40,000. Yes, it is given. Cost of revenue from operations separately given. 2,40,000. No headache for us. Now you have to find out average inventory. Average inventory means opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. Inventory at the end is given, inventory in the beginning is given. So let us add together and we will divide it by 2. I will solve here. Average inventory is equal to opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. Substitute. Opening inventory given, isn't it? How much it is? Inventory in the beginning 58 and this is 62. Inventory at the end. 58 plus 62 divided by 2 is equal to rupees 60,000, right? 60,000. So we got the answer here. Right here the same answer. Here there is no percentage, isn't it? We didn't multiply it by, that is 100. This is a turnover. I told you turnover means should be represented in the form of times, number of times, right? So here it is therefore ITR is equal to inventory turnover ratio is equal to 4 times. 4 times, right? It's done. Your second part of this problem is done, 4 times. Now third one they ask trade receivable turnover ratio. Trade receivable turnover ratio. Point C. Trade receivable turnover ratio. Turnover ratio. Yes, that is trade receivable turnover ratio, TRTR I wrote, is equal to, write the formula. Trade receivable turnover ratio means cost of revenue from operations, isn't it? Receivable turnover ratio, sorry, that is a net credit revenue from operations, that is sales, credit sales, isn't it? Net credit sales means total credit sales minus sales returns. Total credit sales minus sales returns is called net credit revenue from operations or net credit sales. So net credit revenue from operations, divided by average trade receivables. What do you mean by average trade receivables? Average trade receivables is opening debtors and bills receivable plus closing debtors and bills receivable divided by 2. That is what average trade receivables is. If it is not given, opening and closing separately is not given, then the entire amount given itself is the average, right? Average trade receivables here. Average trade receivables. So therefore TR is equal to net credit revenue from operations. How much it is? That is revenue from operation itself. There is no return and there is no mention of cash or credit. So we will take the entire revenue from operations as the credit sales. So how much it will be? 3 lakh given in the problem. 3 lakh divided by how much? 32,000 average trade receivables. So we'll add it together. Opening debtors and bills receivable and closing debtors and bills receivable. Trade receivables, it is straight away given. Nothing is mentioned regarding opening or closing. So itself is the average 32,000 substituted now. Therefore TR is equal to how much? Right, 9.375 times. 9.375 times. It is given as 9.4. No problem. It becomes 9.4 only, isn't it? 375 is there, so they took it as 4. Makes no difference. You just write like this only. Now moving on to the next ratio, that is return on shareholders funds. Return on shareholders funds. Yes, let us write this. Return on shareholders funds, isn't it? Return on shareholders funds. We'll solve here. What do you mean by return on shareholders funds? How we will come to know? Shareholders funds means what? Shareholders funds means equity share capital, isn't it? Any reserves and surplus, any profit and loss account balance, all this comes under the shareholders funds. So let us calculate return on shareholders funds. Point D. Return on shareholders funds, how much? That is, write the formula, profit after tax divided by shareholders funds. PAT, profit after tax, PAT divided by return on shareholders funds. It is given as what they gave, return on RONW they gave, isn't it? It is a return on shareholders funds actually, is equal to return on shareholders funds, that is profit after tax divided by shareholders funds, isn't it, into 100. So that is profit after tax, whether it is given in the problem, net profit after tax, yes, it is given 1 lakh straight away given in the problem. Divided by 1 lakh divided by shareholders funds, that is share capital 6 lakh, isn't it? Then profit and loss account is there, that is a 3 lakh, that's all. So 6 plus 3, 9 lakh, it is 9 lakh into 100. So it will be how much? 11.11 is equal to 11.11. That's all. When it is multiplied by 100 means it is percentage. Very simple. 11.11%. So whenever any ratio is, that is a formula is multiplied by 100 means you have to write or represent it in the percentage, right? Yes. Then return on investment, next ratio is point E, return on investment. Return on investment ROI is equal to, return on investment is equal to, write the formula, profit before interest and tax, that is EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, EBIT is profit before interest and tax, divided by capital employed. What do you mean by capital employed? When you add the shareholders funds and long term liabilities, that is nothing but capital employed. Yes. So right here, share capital plus profit and loss account plus debentures, right? Yes. So capital employed is equal to, right here, capital employed is equal to share capital plus profit and loss account, balance plus what else? Debentures, long term borrowings, right? Long term borrowings or non current liabilities, debentures. So these are the three items you have to take to get capital employed. So remember friends, here you have to take shareholders funds and long term borrowings only, not current liabilities. So don't take current liabilities here, that itself is that is capital employed or net assets, we can say, net assets. Now let us move on. ROI, therefore ROI, return on investment, is equal to PBT is given in the problem, is it correct? Profit before interest and tax, is it given? Yes, net profit before tax. Before tax means before interest also, isn't it? So 2 lakh. Nothing is mentioned regarding whether it is interest is charged or not. So we'll assume it is not charged at all. Capital employed will take 6 plus 3 plus 4, 6 lakh plus 3 lakh and 4, isn't it? So it will be how much? 13 lakh. So 13 lakh denominator, the upper part is 2 lakh numerator, isn't it? ROI, isn't it? How much? 15.38%. So into 100, remember, don't forget to write this, into 100. So it is 15.38, 15.38 percent, because it is multiplied by 100. So therefore ROI, return on investment, is equal to 15.38. Then moving on to the last one, isn't it? Return on investment will be solved. So only one part is remaining, last part. Let us solve it here. Yes, what it is? Book value per share, right? Book value per share. That is point E. No, it is the sixth one. Book value per share. Book value per share is equal to, write the formula, cost of revenue from operations. No, it is equity shareholders funds divided by number of equity shares. Equity shareholders funds, divided by number of shares, number of equity shares, number of equity shares. So how much it is? See, shareholders funds, you know it very well, 6 plus 3, isn't it? That is share capital 6 lakh and profit and loss account 3 lakh, 9 lakh is equal to 6 lakh plus 3 lakh divided by number of equity shares. How will you calculate number of equity shares? It's very clearly given in the problem. Share capital of rupees 10 each. 6 lakh is the capital, divided by face value is 10, isn't it? So you will get how much? 60,000 shares. Very simple. Number of shares. Number of shares is equal to share capital divided by face value of the share. That is 6 lakh divided by 10 is equal to 60,000 shares. Am I correct? 60,000 shares. So right here 60,000 shares. Number of shares are 60,000. Over. So 9 lakh divided by 6 lakh, 60,000 means how much? It is rupees 15. Rupees. Therefore BVPS is equal to rupees 15. That's all. Your problem is solved, isn't it? It's very easy to solve. Now let us I will take up the other problem in the next class. Take down assignment, solve same problem and submit your assignment on time. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.